Hi, my name is Blaine Jones, and today we are going to briefly discuss pH balance in the body, how our body manages acids and bases and maintains a pH balance that is a good environment for the cells to function in. The first thing that we will review right quick is the pH scale, which is a reverse logarithm that measures how acidic or how alkaline something is. It has a range from 0 to 14. The middle of the pH scale falls at number 7, and something that measures 7 on the pH scale is neither acidic or alkaline. It is neutral. The best example of a neutral solution that's neither acidic or alkaline is water, and it falls at 7. Anything below 7 is considered acidic. Anything above 7 from 7 to 14 is considered an alkaline or base substance. Now, base or alkaline substances neutralize acids, and what determines how acidic something is the percentage or the concentration of hydrogen ions in that substance. The more hydrogen that is in a substance, the more acidic it is, the lower it will fall on the pH scale. Now, since we know that 7 is neutral, the body tries to maintain a pH of 7.35 to 7.45. And so you can see that our body tries to maintain a slightly alkaline environment. So our body is producing acids all the time. Normal cellular metabolism produces acids in the body on a constant basis. And there are 3 mechanisms or systems in our body that help us to manage those acids. One is the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffer system. This is a chemical reaction that occurs immediately. It is the fastest acting buffer system in the body. The second one is the respiratory system, how fast we breathe, the depth that we breathe through managing our carbon dioxide helps us to regulate pH balance in the body. And then the kidneys, the renal system, also plays a role. The fastest acting one that happens in seconds is the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffer system, the chemical reaction that happens immediately as acids are generated in the body. Then the respiratory system takes about 2 to 3 minutes to respond to a change in pH in the body. And then the renal system takes a little bit longer. It's hours to days before it actually responds. So we'll talk about each one briefly so that maybe it'll help you to understand a little bit better how these 3 buffer systems work. The first one, let's look at the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffer system. This is a chemical reaction that can happen from right to left or left to right to help balance and manage the acids that are produced in our body. Now, as you know, normal cellular metabolism produces carbon dioxide as a waste product. And you can look at carbon dioxide really as an acid because once it leaves the cells, it immediately mixes with water and forms a weak acid called carbonic acid. Now that carbonic acid, about 70% of it will move into the red blood cell and break up into a hydrogen ion and a bicarbonate ion. The bicarbonate is released into the bloodstream. Hydrogen is held in the red blood cell so that it doesn't have an impact on pH out there. And as the bicarbonate is released into the bloodstream, chloride moves into the red blood cell to hold that hydrogen in there. This allows bicarbonate to free float in the bloodstream and counterbalance the remaining carbonic acid that's still left in the plasma or bloodstream. Now, what the body does is tries to maintain a ratio of bicarbonate to carbonic acid in the bloodstream and interstitial space fluid of 20 bicarbonates for every 1 carbonic acid. As long as the body can maintain this ratio in the bloodstream and the interstitial fluid, then the pH will stay between 7.35 and 7.45. So you can see that the body immediately takes carbon dioxide, which turns into a weak acid, and converts 70% of it into an alkaline substance, a bicarb. That then counterbalances the remaining carbonic acid that did not break down and is left in the bloodstream. And there is a small amount of CO2 that actually is transported on the red blood cells. Now, to show you how this equation works, as a cell produces CO2, the CO2 mixes with water and becomes carbonic acid. The carbonic acid then moves into the red blood cell and breaks down into hydrogen and bicarbonate. Bicarbonate is released into the bloodstream, the hydrogen is held in the red blood cell, chloride moves into the red blood cell, and all of that is transported back to the lungs in that form. Now, when that area of blood reaches the lungs, then the system goes in reverse. Bicarbonate re-enters the red blood cell. The chloride leaves the cell. The bicarbonate joins up with the hydrogen, forms carbonic acid. Then the carbonic acid then breaks down into carbon dioxide and water. Of course, you know at that point, carbon dioxide diffuses from the bloodstream into the alveoli and then is eliminated through our respiration. Now, understanding that automatically takes us to the respiratory system. The respiratory system actually plays a direct role with this chemical reaction up here, the carbonic acid bicarbonate buffer system. You can, as I just said, when it reaches the lungs and all of it turns back into carbon dioxide and water, then it'll be blown out or exhaled from the respiratory system. Now, the respiratory system just kind of works along with this buffer system up here. As you generate more carbon dioxide in the body, then your respirations would speed up to eliminate excess CO2. As you vigorously exercise, for instance, and you produce more CO2, that would begin to push you down on the pH scale, because the more acidic you become, the lower your number becomes on the pH scale. As more CO2 is produced, then your respiratory system responds to that by breathing faster, eliminating more CO2 from the body, therefore bringing your pH range back into the norm. So if I were to take off running around our block, which is about a mile, then I would take off running and my breathing would be normal, slow breathing initially as I took off running. Then as my muscles began to work and produce more CO2, then my CO2 levels would rise in the bloodstream, producing more carbonic acid, which more would break down into hydrogen and bicarb, and that would release more bicarb into the bloodstream to match the carbonic acid that's being produced. Then as that blood is brought back to my lungs, then the chemical reaction goes in reverse, and the carbonic acid will then be broken back down into CO2 and water. Now, since there's higher levels of it being produced because I'm exercising, my respiratory system in 2 to 3 minutes would have sped up to help eliminate the excess CO2 that's creating the acidosis in my body. Now, with that, we will move on to the renal system. The renal system plays a much slower part in management of pH, but it does play a significant role. And the way the renal system works in the management of pH balance is the kidneys will work to eliminate hydrogen ions or bicarbonate ions in the urine, depending on what your state is and how much hydrogen is in your system, hydrogen ions are being produced, or how much bicarbonate ions you have in your body. The kidneys will be either eliminating or retaining hydrogen, which means they'll either be releasing hydrogen into the urine to get rid of it, or retaining hydrogen in the body to help restore pH balance, or they'll be doing the same thing with bicarb. If there's too much bicarbonate in the body, then the kidneys will be eliminating it in the urine. If there's not enough bicarb in the body, then the kidneys will be retaining bicarb. So if we'll stop there with the buffering systems. If you will tune in to our next presentation, I will talk about pH imbalances as they occur and how these three systems respond to imbalances that are caused from pathophysiologies that occur in the body, disease states, injuries, pathological processes that cause an imbalance in the pH system. So thank you, and I hope to see you at the next session.